We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV,
on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
And the national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah.
we're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
They call me Mark Dolan, and we've brought out the comedic big guns tonight. Jonathan Cogan and, yes, Josh Howie. The money has been spent, the contract agreed and the terms signed off. We're going to look at tomorrow's papers and lots of big stories, including a huge injustice for Liverpool fans. But first up, here are the headlines with Polly.
Well, Mark, despite losing the Champions League final against Real Madrid last night, Liverpool turned red for a victory parade today. Thousands lined the streets to welcome home their heroes and celebrate, and fans created waves of red smoke as they filled the city. The Reds won the FA and Carabao Cup earlier this season as well. Plenty to celebrate. But the Culture Secretary is calling for an investigation into the violent clashes that took place during the final in Paris last night. Nadine Dorry says it's in everyone's interest to learn lessons after French police fired tear gas at some Liverpool fans. UEFA says thousands of them tried to enter the grounds with fake tickets, and it's reviewing what happened. In the United States, the Justice Department will review the police response to the massacre at the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. The authorities say the gunman was in a classroom for 77 minutes before a tactical team entered and killed him. During that time, parents and officers were outside while others ran for their lives. The review is questioning the decision of the senior commander to hold back officers for more than an hour once they arrived. 19 children and 2 of their teachers died. Ukraine's President Zelensky has visited troops on the front lines in the north and eastern parts of the country. The visit marks his first official appearance outside of the Kyiv region since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February. Ukraine's military say their forces are continuing to resist Russia's assault in the east of the country. Officials say Severodonetsk, the largest city they still hold in the Donbass, was weathering heavy artillery barrages today. The Ministry of Defence says the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy will be there for fans at the Qatar World Cup. Defence Secretary Ben Wallace says British military personnel will work with their Qatari counterparts to rebuff potential terrorist threats as well as other security issues at the tournament. And Boris Johnson wants to bring back pounds, ounces, as well as feet and inches. The government's going to launch a consultation on the use of imperial measurements in Britain to coincide with the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. The UK has been using metric units since the year 2000 following an EU directive. And lastly, tributes have been pouring in for the legendary jockey Lester Piggott, who's died at the age of 86.
Never Say Die was that 18-year-old marvel of the saddle, Lester Piggott.
The 11-time champion and winner of 30 classics was widely regarded as one of the greatest riders of all time. Fellow jockey Frankie Dettori said Lester was a hero and the impact he'd made on racing was second to none. On TV, online and on your radio via DAB+. You're with GB News. Now it's time for headliners.
I'm Mark Dolan, and this is Headliners, a first look at tomorrow's papers in the company of two top comedians. Tonight, a duo more trusted than Marks and Spencer, but with much better underpants. It's Jonathan Cogan and Josh Howie. Gentlemen, great to have you here. Josh, I know you're rocking your Y fronts, and I believe, Jonathan, well, I know you're going commando.
None at all. Yeah, nothing.
I've installed a camera in the lavatories at GB News, so I should know. Can I just say that you're dressed as each other tonight?
Yes, I'm trying to look younger than my age, and he's trying to...
I'm dressing up.
You've both gone. You both look brilliant, by the way. Strongly attractive.
Thank you.
But you've both gone for the sort of the heavy cotton shirt/jacket.
The denim shacket, I believe it's called.
Is that what it's called?
Can I say shacket on television?
It's a family show, Jonathan.
Sorry.
Yeah,
my apologies.
This is like TK Maxx finest, so
that'll do nicely.
Yeah.
I can actually feel our ratings rise just watching you
through the denim.
There you go. The eye candy are in. And they've got lots of talking points. But let's start with tomorrow's papers and let's kick off with the Daily Mail. And they're leading with 12 million to share Jubilee lunch with the Queen. A joyous week begins and organisers predict a record turnout to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. Next up, the Daily Telegraph. UK opens its doors to the world's top graduates. Visas for students leaving universities such as Harvard and Yale in a post-Brexit scheme. Texas police face inquiry as Biden pays respects. And Jubilee killjoys warn against unauthorised street parties. Next up, let's go to The Guardian. Home Office report decries 30 years of racist laws and expose in relation to policies, including those linked to the Windrush scandal. Also, a genius on a racehorse. Sporting great Lester Piggott dies aged 86. And families say Paris had echoes of Hillsborough. We'll talk about that story. An awful treatment of Liverpool fans at the Champions League final last night in France's capital. The FT global inflation fight spurs widest push to raise rates in 2 decades. The Times, US investigation to learn lessons from the Texas school shooting. Millions warned of power cuts. Ministers delay closure of coal-fired generators over fear of gas shortages caused by the war in Ukraine. Also, images of the Queen on Stonehenge. Far out, man. Daily Express next. Lester the legend dies at 86. A legend to everyone except, of course, the tax man. Crying shame, how could French police tear gas Liverpool fan aged 9? Also, calls to fine patients who miss GP visits. Millions of wasted GP appointments have sparked calls for patients to be fined if they fail to show up. Sounds like a good option in my view. The Metro next, seeing red at French farce. Liverpool and the Culture Secretary call for a probe after fans are tear-gassed at the Champions League final. Truly traumatic for those Liverpool fans. And finally, the Daily Star. So long, fellow. Piggott gallops home. Dettori, Leicester 86, was the greatest of all time. And those are your front pages. We start with Monday's Guardian and the events surrounding last night's Champions League final in Paris. Josh, this looks to be a real miscarriage of justice for Liverpool fans.
Yeah, basically there was lots of people queuing up, lots of disabled people, children being tear-gassed, and not only that, supposedly on the way out, people are getting mugged. There were no police anywhere after the match. So when people were trying to get to the metro, lots of people were literally just getting beaten up by local things. The French government are blaming the English fans. And the English fans, of course, and the Liverpool fans are saying that this is ridiculous. That supposedly there were counterfeiters there, maybe counterfeit tickets. On the French side, I will say that it was meant to be in Russia, so this has been a bit of a last-minute replacement doing it here. But now they're calling for, they're saying, oh, let's not do the athletics at the same stadium, let's not do the rugby. I don't think there's going to be that issue with the athletics. I don't think there's going to be big queues of people trying to get in.
I don't know, people that watch the 400 metres can be very feisty.
But they're fast.
It's true, by the
They'll
way.
be fast.
They can
They'll
outrun
get
anyone.
straight through the gauntlet.
And also, they'd be great on the hurdles as well.
Yeah, just straight through, jump over, whatever. So
who needs to buy a ticket?
It sounds horrible, and the fact that there's children, that there's disabled people.
Correct.
It sounds like a terrible.
I also think that this could have a sort of diplomatic problem to it as well, Jonathan. Given the fact that this is a fellow European country, these are British football fans going to a neighbouring country to watch a game of football and being tear-gassed.
Yeah, it's terrible. They've been treated absolutely appallingly. I mean, it's an outrage how the police have treated Liverpool fans. It seems like it was terribly policed, and I, for one, will be boycotting Café Rouge until this is sorted.
Oh, my
Boycotting
God.
France.
No. You've pressed the nuclear button.
I have.
I mean, I'm not happy with France, but I'm not going that far, Josh.
I am going to say something that is going to get me in trouble.
Do it.
You're on GBNews, it's your job.
I'm just going to say that the MP, the West Derby MP, Ian Byrne, says that he wants our government to stand up for the Liverpool fans. That's the government's job, that's good. I'm just going to say, a couple of weeks ago, when the old, the British anthem came on, there's a lot of Liverpool fans booing and what. I'm just saying there's a tinge of hypocrisy there. Suddenly, and I'm not a fan of this particular government, but I'm just saying, now suddenly, let's get the government involved. Now we're not going to boo the national anthem.
I've got to say, I love Liverpool, and as
I love Liverpool. It's the best place to.
We all gig there, and it's an amazing city in which to perform. And I also admire the club as well. But I didn't like it when the fans booed the national anthem
and Prince William.
I'm
not even a massive
William.
I'm not a massive royalist, but I just thought that's not necessary.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair point.
But this is a different thing. Children, disabled people, just innocent people, women, anyone. They have been treated badly by the French police.
Anyone that's sort of holidayed on the continent, the culture of policing is different in countries like France, Spain, and Italy. I mean, in Italy, the police are in some cases akin to the army.
Spain as well.
Yeah.
No, the Guardian. Absolutely, you don't mess with them at all.
Yeah.
And some of the clips that have come out have just been. Yeah.
A lot of them are armed.
Oh yeah, they have arms.
Kind of scary, yeah.
I mean, we're talking about guns as opposed to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Koshers.
There you go.
I've got a kosh.
There you go. Well, look, our heart goes out.
I thought I was literally talking about arms.
Right.
I thought you.
Nice. Thanks for clearing that one up. On that anatomical note, let's move on to Monday's Independent, and you can take your easily divisible and readily calculated kilometres, your litres and your grams. This is the United Kingdom. We want threepenny half bits and half an ounce of milk. And by God, we shall have them, Josh.
So no one would ever accuse Boris Johnson of creating diversions away from his various scandals that are going on. Some new stuff came out today that Sue Gray's report didn't cover. Some of his wife's party, supposedly, that wasn't covered. Some texts have come out now. So, but yeah, that's what Boris does, isn't it? We had those blue passports, whoop-de-doo. Now we're going to get the imperial measurements back, which is silly because we actually already, we still have pints. We still have miles. So what are they talking about? It's just it's ridiculous.
Well, isn't it just the symbolism of Brexit that we're out, so we can now legally sell and buy things that are in ounces? And that's the whole point.
Yeah, but we always could. The point was it had to have kilograms on the packaging as well.
Yeah.
So you could always you go to the supermarket, it has the grams and it has the ounce. And what's the difference?
Isn't it just a little perk, a little cosmetic reminder of people, getting what they voted for in 2016?
But in what way? What are they getting extra that they don't have already?
A reminder, it's symbolic, isn't it, totemic, that when you drink a pint and it's got the actual crown on it and it says pint, that you know that...
It says pint. We have pint already.
Democracy prevails.
But that's what we already have.
Although I think the crown symbol was taken off the pint glass, which I think's, you know...
I don't believe that's true. I think
no, is that not the whole point, that they've been able to restore the crown symbol can actually go on the glass, which I think...
Why did we
what they did is they replaced the crown with the dreadful CE safety thing, which is very,
that's not
very
fun.
Brussels.
Oh, very boring.
Disgusting.
I think we should go...
I'm glad we're out. You've changed my mind. This show right now,
and
thank
also
you.
the blue passport. I mean, much harder to lose.
Yeah, the purple one kind of gets lost away in the cashmere jumper.
Well, you've got so much velvet in your house. That's the problem. Too much red velvet.
I'm afraid there's a lot of plush fabrics around at my place. But I mean, neither of you, I guess, are old enough to remember when we really had ounces and pounds.
What's a shilling? That's what I want to know.
It's what you're being paid tonight.
Yeah, 1 shilling and sixpence.
We're a start-up.
Well, it's, you know,
I mean,
1%.
you probably, as a younger human being, probably find this all a bit comical.
Yeah, I like it. It. Like you say, it does seem symbolic. It seems very English, and it kind of seems petty, but I like that. I like the, it's like, what was the whole thing about you couldn't have a straight banana or a bent banana? I don't watch the news, but, you know, it's like a whole thing. And, yeah, like you say, it's symbolic. It's just, we can do this now, so we are.
You don't watch the news. You've come to the right place.
Yeah. Well, now we've got bananas that will have the crown symbol printed back on them, so finally.
Exactly.
Praise the Lord. Monday's Sun next, and I don't know about you, Jonathan, but prisons seem different they used to be, how they used to be.
They do, yeah. I mean, this is a story that's taken straight from my internet search history. So a transgender murderer at a woman's jail was reportedly caught having sex with another prisoner after a secret booze session in a cell. So the 43-year-old killer and a younger inmate are said to have got drunk on illegal brew, which was made in the cell, and they were found having sex.
So was it a trans woman?
It was a
trans woman, yes.
It was a trans woman. So
if you like,
yes,
you could do us a diagram.
Okay.
Use a banana, a straight one.
A straight banana. So a trans woman who had, I believe, the male genitalia, had sex with a female prisoner, and it was all highly erotic in my imagination, and they would try to keep it a secret, apparently.
I heard you've been furiously committing crimes ever since you found out about this.
Oh, yes, yeah. Straight to
Get me in that cell.
I do worry about going to prison. I've not done anything bad, but I do have a lot of sort of dreams about going to prison. Is that something that's going to happen? I'm fine, right? I'm too pretty to go to prison. I can't
well, also, Jonathan, all you have to do is say that you're a woman, and you will go to a woman's prison.
Make some booze.
That is the policy.
And you'll get laid.
And I'll get laid.
You'll get some action.
I hear you get laid in prison quite easily anyway, but...
Sorry to get a bit serious here, but the Sun here saying, this is talking about murder, she has since moved 16 miles away. No, this is a murderer with male appendage. It's a man. Why do we care about, like, correctly identifying the person of someone who is...
If someone commits a crime, it doesn't stop them being a trans woman, does it?
No, but the point for me is, like, why is there so much effort? It's confusing. Well, she is moved... Which of the people here has been moved away? The murderer with the willy.
There was that what was it, that headline in one of the regional papers, woman exposes penis and has sex with a wheelie bin.
And the other thing is...
Hey, it was an attractive wheelie bin, let me just say.
And look, can I just say, sorry, one other little thing, is it was said it was consensual, but we are talking about...
How can the wheelie bin consent?
Women's prison...
What they do, when the wheelie bin is cool with it, it sort of flaps up and...
I will make my turf point and move on.
Having sex with the wheelie bin is rubbish.
Can I just say, I only empty my bins once a fortnight.
In women's prisons, I would say this thing, in women's prisons, the women in there are some of the most deprived people in society who,
Josh,
to say that they're...
seriously, we're talking about people's lives here.
OK, and wheelie bins. But seriously, though, it's supposedly it was consensual or whatever. There's a power transfer.
If you're in prison, in a sense, you're a vulnerable person.
And certainly women, for most of them who have been abused sexually, drugs, whatever, who knows to what level it was consensual or not? There's a power transfer. There is a male-bodied person in a cell with a female. That's wrong.
Yeah, I do think you're right. And I've got to say, notwithstanding our slight levity in relation to this story, it reflects the madness of where we are in 2022, doesn't it, Jonathan? Seriously?
Yeah, I'd say so. And I agree with your point. There are a lot of vulnerable people there. And like you say,
I mean, well, this obviously shouldn't be happening in a prison where a vulnerable woman can just be... Well, I mean, it said it was consensual, but like you say, you don't know. I mean, it's a very de jure story, isn't it? It's a kind of a microcosm of a lot of what's going on.
And sorry, let's go back to wheelie bins.
Yeah.
Sorry,
well,
I didn't mean to make it.
Yes, in relation
just wanted to make the
wheelie
point,
bins, by the way.
Sex for the bin.
Yeah,
right?
don't try that at home or in your front garden. Not in front of the neighbours. Monday's Telegraph next, and the actor Noel Clarke is suing the BAFTAs. Jonathan, what a great time to talk about sexual misadventure.
Absolutely. Had a few of those this week. So Noel Clarke sues the BAFTAs after he was stripped of award over sexual assault claims. Now, here the actor and director says he has not been arrested or charged over these allegations, which he denies, but he's still been criminalised. So it kind of seems here, as he's not been charged, is this a trial, this trial by accusation? Is this... I mean, there have been a lot of allegations against him, but he's not been charged with anything.
Is it 20 women have come
20,
forward?
Yeah. So, I mean...
I mean, I don't know 20 women, so...
No.
Not anymore.
No.
They've gone very quiet. I've actually been thrown out of their WhatsApp group, so that's apparently bad. But look, the issue is, this guy is... I mean, very, very talented actor and director. I've worked with him a couple of times. He's a really nice guy.
Oh, wow, OK.
But clearly, it's very, very concerning that 20 women would come forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, you can't go down that route of saying there's no smoke without fire. That's how...
I wanted to say that phrase, but that's not how the justice system works.
It's not how it works, is it?
Exactly. That is literally a Peep Show quote where Mark's like, there's no smoke without fire. Is that what 2,000 years of the legal system has come down to? And exactly. It's you have to have due process here. But at the same time, like you say, 20 women. I mean, it's a tricky situation because, yes, if he is guilty, then of course he should be held accountable and punished. But like you say, you just need to have due process here. You can't just, trial by social media.
Can you give us a sense of how big a star he was before this happened? I mean, this was a guy at the top of his game professionally, winning awards. One of the darlings of British film, right?
Well, yeah. Well, he was sort of massive, and he was. I believe he was on the. He had like an honorary seat in the BAFTAs or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Assuming I didn't just make that up, but yeah. So he was a well-established guy. So it's someone well known and respected. So it really does kind of.
In his own words, he said, I flirted and but there's a big difference between that and what he's been accused of, and he's suing not just BAFTA. I believe he's suing Guardian and he's talking, GQ. Like his whole life has been turned upside down. Now, if those accusations come out to be true via, like you say, a court of law, whatever, then yes, he should lose his awards and he should be punished accordingly. But he's saying they're not true, and he has a right to face his accusers. In the meantime, he's had all his work dry up. He's had his awards taken away.
Yeah.
Whatever. That behaviour is wrong. Whether he did that behaviour, that's what we need to know.
Do we know where the authorities are in terms of...
Well, they haven't. No, that's it. They're not bringing in charges.
He's not been charged.
This guy is therefore guilt-free, according to,
British law.
The justice system. I wonder, Josh, if there are parallels with Woody Allen. Because this guy, Woody Allen, an unutterable film genius, one of the great American wits, an incredible director, writer, actor, whose entire legacy has been torched by accusations of child abuse and molestation, investigated by the New York police on 3 occasions, no case answerable, no charges pressed. This guy's career's over too.
Well, Woody Allen's career is not over, number one.
I think it's been hurt by it.
It's been absolutely impacted by it. But the big difference is that Woody Allen's a genius and Noel Clarke is not.
No, but I mean, it's unfair that Woody Allen...
Oh, it's totally unfair.
Should see his legacy stake. I haven't been on his Wikipedia recently. I shouldn't have said wiki.
Oh, no, look, Moses Farrow, Mia Farrow's son, basically wrote this huge essay, negates everything in the whole... If you read this essay, you're going to Mia Farrow, the lies, the abuse that Moses Farrow, went under.
He accused his mother, Mia Farrow, of effectively being abusive to him and lying about all of the accusations.
Absolutely. And like you say, he's been investigated. And Woody Allen's been accused 3 times. There's never been any other accusations in terms of you know, what, this was the one incident in the one thing, you know, like it just doesn't fit together at all. And I'm not just saying that because I called one of my kids Woody.
Right. I mean, it's fair to say that Mia Farrow is not here to defend herself, and she will doubtless stand by her allegations against Mr. Allen. But you do wonder whether we do need actually court cases in which to prosecute people rather than just trial by media. That's it for part one. I think you'll agree. We're travelling hot with these two tonight. Lots more to get through. We'll be discussing the newest crime family in the UK, the ambulance service, the church opening their grounds to travellers, and something called the ick. What's the ick, you say? I've got no idea either, but find out in quite literally 180 seconds.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV.
On radio. On digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah. We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah. We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
Welcome back to Headliners, a first look at tomorrow's papers with me, Mark Dolan, and the double comedic threat of stand-ups Jonathan... it just says Jonathan and Josh Howe. I didn't realise they were husband and wife.
Well, Jonathan's so successful, he's actually just on a first-name basis with the general public.
Exactly. It's like Prince, but...
that would do it. Jonathan Cogan and Josh Howe, who are indeed sisters. Let's move on to Monday's Guardian now, and the church has offered up their land, Josh. Very Christian.
Yeah, this is good. Durham churches, there's big travellers kind of route, the Appleby Horse Fair. 10,000 travellers, Roma and gypsies going to Appleby. And they've offered, Durham churches have offered their land for people to stop at. I think the law's changed recently where you can be fined like £2,500 or something if you're doing that legally. So there is the need for these spaces certainly because I think there's a lot of horses and whatever. So that's a nice thing. That's the church. Good old Christians doing what they do.
Yeah. I look forward to hearing Jimmy Carr's comments on this in his next Netflix special.
Yeah.
He'll do an hour on this, won't he, Jonathan Cogan?
Yeah, he will. He might not make it through the whole hour. He got in a lot of trouble last time. But, yeah, I mean, it seems like a nice sort of charitable act. It's their land. They can do what they like with it, and they're being very hospitable and inviting.
Yeah, there was the holiday company that got in trouble for allegedly blacklisting people with Irish names or names that might look like they come from sort of travelling Roma Gypsy community.
Rosenberg.
My golf club.
Yeah. Howie.
Cohen. Yeah, the usual.
Or Kogan, even worse.
Yeah.
And Dolan, well, we've been blacklisted for years. Monday's Times next, and the one group I didn't think I had to worry about becoming a criminal gang were the ambulance service, Jonathan, but this is pretty serious.
Yeah, this is news to me. So the Ambulance Trust covered up paramedics' fatal errors like a criminal gang. So what we have here, an ambulance trust has been accused of acting like a criminal gang and lying to dead patients' families by an employee who repeatedly warned about paramedics' mistakes being covered up.
Yeah.
So it's a case of maybe negligence or just mistakes being covered up, and the family of those affected or deceased just being not told what's happened. And when a coroner, a guy called Paul Calvert, his job was to produce reports on deaths, but a lot of this has been he's been told to cover a lot of this up. Even though he's been trying to, get the truth to the family members, and it looks like people just don't want to be blamed for their negligence.
Yeah, it's not good, and I think it's another bad news story for the NHS.
Well, let's just say who it is: the North East Ambulance Service. These are the people who are responsible. Mistakes happen. People's lives, but you have to acknowledge these mistakes. That's how you learn from it and you move on. Some of the instances here are pretty horrific. There's a 17-year-old who committed suicide, hung herself, and supposedly when they turned up, her heart was still beating, but the paramedic on the scene, the first one, didn't actually perform CPR.
Yeah.
That was covered up. There was a man, a 62-year-old man, he had his oxygen machine cut off, and there was a 34-minute delay for the ambulance there because they didn't know how to operate the ambulance bay's gates. Then they called in a second ambulance. That second ambulance stopped for petrol, even though they had enough petrol to do the trip. So these kind of things, they're mistakes. It's not like people are deliberately trying to murder somebody, but when these mistakes happen, they should be acknowledged so that people know next time and they can fix and put in routines so that this stuff doesn't happen. When it's covered up, and there's been a very clear cases of these things being covered up, this person who's the whistleblower was offered £41,000 basically to keep their mouth shut. And he said no. This stuff needs to come out.
This isn't just, somebody Tipexing out one detail on a report. This seems to be institutional and cultural and systemic. This tweet from Dr. Katie Musgrave, who's an NHS GP that's been on this channel. She's been on my show and she writes for The Telegraph and other papers. This is the NHS I've worked in for 12 years and the culture I have observed. Bullying and intimidation to cover up institutional failings that seemingly cannot be acknowledged, let alone tackled. How and why did we get here, and who will fix it?
Well, yeah, look, I don't want to make this a bigger criticism of the NHS at large. I just want to say, in this particular case, there have been massive failings. Fortunately, the person who's the coroner's office, who's basically uncovered this, it turns out he was actually a former detective for the Northumbria Police. So he was not going anywhere. He's been very assiduous about collecting the evidence. Yeah. He's went to the people in charge repeatedly to get this stuff sorted, and they said they did, and they didn't. And finally now it's getting some attention, and I hope that the people at the top, frankly, lose their jobs.
Josh has been very circumspect about not blaming the whole NHS for this, but, there was that issue around maternity units in which hundreds of babies were dying that didn't need to, which has, been unearthed. A terrible, a particular spike in deaths of newborns in one particular health authority. It's important that the NHS is not this sort of sacred, untouchable organisation. It must be accountable, and we must be allowed to criticise it if things go wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, any, government arm or anybody, like you say, must be accountable. No one is above criticism. And that's not even a political statement. You just want these services to run as well, as best for people as you can. And if you can't, like you say, call out mistakes and learn from them, then that's...
Yeah, I think all public figures should be accountable, except comedians, I think.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, we're untouchable.
Yeah, we're good people. Yeah. We do our best.
Yeah.
I don't.
Leave Ricky Gervais alone.
Yeah, too right. People aren't happy with the allocation of the £400 fuel handout. This is in Monday's Guardian, Jonathan. 15 billion, it's not enough, is it?
Not quite enough, no. So it's not on. Whitstable rages against extra £400 for second homeowners for fuel bills. So it's obviously hit a sore spot in Whitstable. So people in the Kent seaside town are popular second residence for wealthy Londoners.
Great oysters.
Great oysters. They see no justice in the Chancellor's payout. So Rishi's latest intervention to help the nation pay its energy bills is giving out £400 for every household. And that includes people who have two homes. So if they've got a second home, they also get that second £400 payout. Now,
so it's 800 in total?
Yes, £400.
For me, it's 1,200.
Oh, our award winner. Nice. Look, OK, this may not be a popular opinion, but if you've got a second home, you've got a jacuzzi to run, it's expensive, you've probably got a classic car, they get terrible mileage.
Yeah.
That £400 is going to make your weekend.
Also, you've probably installed your mistress in there.
Yeah.
And when you're not around, she's in the hot tub.
She's got the heating on.
Yeah, she's doing her hair, isn't she? I mean, mistress is always doing their hair, aren't they?
I wouldn't know.
My one wears a wig.
It is. I mean, am I right in thinking, Kogan, that the issue here is Rishi Sunak would not like to give money to people with second homes. It's probably just the practicality that there's less bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So although it's not a great headline, he's only doing it because in practical terms it works better.
So you think it might be an element of, if we try and work out who actually needs it...
Means tested. Can you imagine?
Yeah, yes, that would be difficult. That would be... I mean, but that... With every kind of benefit, it's mean tested, right? If you're on universal credit, if you're...
Yeah, I mean, I think child benefit is one of the universal ones that's not necessarily...
I'm sure there are other ways that this money doesn't have... Just to sort of go, well, look, if you've got the £400, you don't need it, donate it to charity, isn't necessarily good enough. But I just want to give credit to the writer here of The Guardian article, because he or she is an artist. Peter Robertson stared out to sea and shook his head. It's not on. They don't need more money. I mean, it's just there's pathos in here. There's
Jaws.
It's really,
this is someone who's recently graduated from an English degree.
Very unusual for The Guardian to be so anti-aspirational, have a go at people that have worked hard, saved, taken risks in their lives in order to achieve a second property, possibly in lieu of a pension.
There's also my favourite. The 70-year-old said that coping with a ruptured Achilles tendon and a brain tumour diagnosed in 2017 had made him philosophical. This is pretty dour stuff.
Yeah. Made him uncomfortable.
Yeah. So, again, I'll keep on saying this. The money, it's great that money is going out there to help people. I just think that money could be better targeted.
This money being printed or this money being...
Yeah, exactly. This money is being brought out of nowhere.
Is it?
Yeah. No, it's the windfall tax, mate.
OK.
Well, on that fiscal note, I do like a bit of fiscal action. That's it for part 2. After the break, we've got male sperm tests, not in the studio, hopefully.
Yes!
And my rather potent guests will be discussing what gives them the ick, whatever that is, and whether there are some books you just shouldn't read outside. Plus, we've got some exclusive pictures coming in of Jonathan Kogan and a wheelie bin from the Barnet area of North London. The wheelie bin.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV.
On radio. On digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
The national media should be reflecting and reporting what's happening here.
You will notice the northwestern accents.
Whether you're with us on TV, radio, or online, every morning, it's breakfast from 6 a.m. Hope you can join us.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, the comedy panel show that's just like the news, in that the left fights the right and it doesn't really seem to matter who wins. We cover the big stories. It was in fact a troop of baboons and not angry vegans.
I like that.
And the really important stories.
Fat naked cow gets stuck in swimming pool.
It's a headline in a lot of local newspapers. Yeah. We're on the same team, Nick. Yeah, but I'm just helping you.
Join us for Ministry of Offence, Saturday nights, 8 o'clock on GB News.
Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
Always keep my glasses on when I make love. Welcome back to Headliners, a first look at tomorrow's papers with me, Mark Dolan, a bit short-sighted, and the fantastic comedians Jonathan Cogan and Josh Howie. Josh is, well, he's taken his glasses off, but now he's got his beer goggles on. And let's move to this next story. This article was actually emailed. It came into the show from a Mr. N. Dixon of Cumbria in relation to testosterone, Josh. Who is N. Dixon of Cumbria?
I've heard of Nick Dixon. Could it be
Nikolai?
Nick Dixon? Nikolai, yeah, possibly.
Late night comedian?
Yes. Nick, supposedly he's sent off for a sperm test. There's a mail-order sperm test now for self-conscious men. Nick didn't want to go into an office or into a place to do it. So now they're providing like a courier. It goes off quickly to a lab.
But what is it? You'll have to help.
What is a sperm test?
What is a sperm? What are we testing exactly?
Just to see if how viable your sperm.
So it's a test about the volume.
The volume, the taste. No, I don't know if it's the taste. How many, the numbers, how fun they are, whatever, I don't know, all that stuff. And
so it's essentially how fertile you are.
How fertile you are, yeah, exactly. And
you don't need one of those because you have 5 children.
I have 5 children, but I was curious to see, just to check if things have gone down, because it goes down when you put on a little bit of weight, it can go down, lack of exercise. I've lost my sample. It was in
yogurt.
No, it was in my. It was in a Doctor Who mug. It was in my Doctor Who mug, and I don't know what. Uh-oh.
And I finished it.
Finally.
He's drinking sperm. I wouldn't send my sperm in the post. I don't trust it. You don't know what kind of lonely postwoman is going to find that and be like, this guy's got high-value sperm. I'm getting the turkey bait. I'm going to stop that.
Well, that's right, because she's seen you on GB News.
Exactly. She's a big fan.
She likes the
double
heavy,
the whole
heavy
outfit.
cotton shirt.
Yeah. Thank you. Jacket.
Yeah.
Bleep that out.
She's I've seen him in action with a wheelie bin. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. But I wouldn't post it. I did actually freeze my sperm once. But my parents made me buy a new ice tray.
You were a very bad man. They can be quite immature sometimes, can't they? Seriously, you can't get the staff. Let's move on to the Daily Mail and something called the ick. I thought that was the last topic. What is it and how do I stop giving it to women, Jonathan?
So, is this why you get the ick? This term was coined to describe a sudden turn-off on a date, which goes viral. The term's gone viral on social media, but experts warn it's a defence mechanism and could be a sign you're a commitment phobe. So the ick is, I guess it's a noun. It's used to describe seemingly innocuous traits that are sudden turn-offs.
Like white sort of denim jackets.
White denim jackets, having sex with a wheelie bin. All these things are massive ick. So there's either things that I think it's generally women find for men. I don't know if it's both ways.
No, it's absolutely both ways.
Is it both ways?
Oh, for sure. You don't have the ick on certain things?
Maybe if I find my girlfriend's reading a book that doesn't have any pictures, I find that a bit of a turn-off.
Wow, that's a weird one.
You enjoy an illustrated novel, do you?
Yes.
You're not talking like children's books?
No. Well, she's 18, so she doesn't read those anymore.
So when people say to you, have you read Great Expectations, you're like, well, I've looked at the pictures.
I've looked at the pictures, exactly. I've read, I judge a book by its cover, and that's what we're all about here at GB News. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. OK, some examples.
Well, you're very welcome here.
Yeah. All right.
Give this man a job.
Full-timer. So, right, some examples of the ick that people have reported. So, seeing somebody run for the bus, or chasing a ping-pong ball, disgusting, or sitting with your legs dangling from a bar stool. These have all been enough to give discerning daters the ick.
Yuck.
What are these things? I think these are...
Come on, man. There are things that we all do, that everybody does. But this article is terrible. There's loads of pages here, and they've got 3 examples of the ick. out of, and then the rest of it's just boring psychology. Give us more examples of it so we can stop doing the
I feel like we've achieved a definition of the ick. Is it a tipping point moment of irritation? Does the ick end the relationship? Is it that moment when I realise he or she had to go? Is that the ick?
The sudden turn-off. So for me, one tick is, this ex-girlfriend of mine, she didn't know that Woody Allen was Jewish. She was gone.
Right.
She was gone.
I mean, how did she miss that?
Well, exactly. So I was like, there was no point in us being together. Let's finish it.
Yeah.
There was no, that was it.
I mean, no one has ever watched Woody Allen and thought he needs to be more Jewish, just so we know.
No, exactly. So, that's an example of the ick. That's just like a momentary thing where you just look at someone and you go, you know what?
You mentioned Woody Allen. Isn't there also that point in a relationship when you show them your favourite movie or play them your favourite song and they say, I don't like it. I don't really like that.
No, and that's a big one. And I took Monique, my wife.
Yes, I did.
Took her to Annie Hall. They had a reprint a few years ago. And I said to her, this is my favourite movie, and she laughed all the way through it, even at bits that weren't like jokes. And then years later, she said, after we were married and had 5 kids, she turned around and said, yeah, I didn't think it was that great.
She was faking it?
She faked the film and then waited till we had 5 kids to tell me till she felt secure enough to go.
Yeah, but that's a sign of wanting it to work, to fake a film.
Yeah, absolutely. She faked it for
me. My girlfriend fakes it all the time.
What does she fake for you?
Oh, just sort of any general sentiment of goodwill towards me.
That's like, she's a keeper, mate.
Absolutely, yeah.
What did she have any comments about the heavy cotton?
Hey, you're dressed like a scientist. I mean, I love it.
Did she just say to you, what is it?
For someone who criticises the NHS, you do look like you've just come off the ward.
I've been vaccinating people all afternoon. Cut me some slack.
You look like you've been dispensing pills.
I take a lot of money from Pfizer.
Pharmacy.
I've been working with AstraZeneca now for 2 years. And
safe and effective.
They've got their money's worth.
You'll only feel a little prick.
Exactly.
Well, look, there you go. That's the ick. I've not got the ick with either of those two, and lots more work to come from them. Monday's mail once again, and a Zoom mishap, Josh.
Yeah, this is a fantastic story. So, a couple inadvertently broadcast themselves having sex over Zoom during a bat mitzvah. Actually, a bat mitzvah is a bar mitzvah for girls.
For birds.
Yeah, for birds. And basically, they just didn't realise they left their camera on. And it's over 45 minutes. They were sort of naked and canoodling.
45 minutes. That's
a long time. And the thing, what people don't, I don't know if people know this, but it's a mitzvah. It's a blessing that on Shabbat you are meant to have marital relations. So they were just fulfilling God's plan, but they just happened to do it in front of the congregation.
I've been to a bar mitzvah and I didn't find it to be a particularly racy experience. So I don't understand how they can get so hot and heavy.
Well, we don't know what the rabbi was like.
Ceremony.
It could have been a really cool rabbi, an amazing sermon.
Yeah, that's true.
All these things. They could have just been very bored as well.
I heard about a couple who actually had sex on the religious scroll.
Wow, yes, that's the Torah. Yeah.
No, he was gentle.
Pleased to hear that.
Good one.
On that inflammatory note.
Looking for the bar mitzvah.
Not just thrown together. Who else can we alienate in the next few minutes? Monday's Times now, and this feels like product placement, Josh.
Yeah, this is pure. This whole article in the Times is all about Huel. That's what it's called?
Huel.
Yeah, it's basically the drink that is like a protein drink or something that you could just, and this person's basically saying, I tried it and I got out my Huel and then loads of blokes came over to me and were like, yeah, what flavour's that? And how cool are you? I bought a Huel t-shirt from a car boot sale a couple of years ago for like £1 because I thought it was like a skate brand.
Oh no.
And I was wearing it and people did. I know, yeah. But people did oh yeah, and I thought, I got it going on with my Huel t-shirt.
Were they confused though that you weren't ripped? They're like, he's wearing a Huel t-shirt, but he's got no guns. Where's the abs?
He's got a big gut. It made no sense, yeah, but they were like, oh, he's just started Huel.
Huel paid you to stop wearing it by the end of it.
Exactly, yeah. It did.
Yeah, or he's given up the Huel.
Given up the Huel. Ex-Huel, but you would get, I didn't realise that these were the free T-shirts that you got when you went with Huel. So I thought I was pretty cool for about a year until someone pointed out.
I used to drink it. I actually got a Huel endorsement once. I followed them on Twitter and they sent me a load of stuff and I basically lived off it for about 2 months.
Wait a minute, you got this company to send you
their product? They sent me, yeah.
And how did you achieve this?
Just by being an absolute legend on Twitter, really.
Wow. So what, you tweeted just saying, I love Huel?
I followed them, and they were like, messaged me. They're like, do you want some Huel? I was like, OK.
What? You've got to follow, and that's what happened.
Yeah, you could do that.
OK, wait a minute. Huel is amazing. Yeah. I just want to say that right now. And I've got 5 kids, so I'll get all the kids on Huel. Send it over.
Send it over.
And I'll turn on my heating.
I believe there's an unborn child. We can get some Huel into that if we can.
Let's get more Huel.
Baby number 6 on the way.
Let's go. I'm drinking. This is actually Huel right now. I'm drinking some Huel.
You should actually somehow give the Huel to your sperm just to amp it up.
You think it needs a bit of help?
Before it goes off to the lab for testing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just Huel it up a little bit.
It actually tastes quite similar, if I recall. It's,
oh, no, we've just lost the endorsement!
Kogan.
You got my endorsement.
What have they put in your tea tonight? It's strange, though, isn't it, this idea of a meal in a glass? Whatever happened to food?
Well, I mean, I agree. I mean, the whole thing behind Huel is it's not saying this is here to replace food, it's just to replace food when you don't have time to cook and to eat. So they're not saying, oh, don't go to restaurants, don't have shared meals with your family. It's just if you're at the office and you can't be bothered to go to Pret and you don't have to decide, and that's going to take half an hour.
You have to be middle class? I mean...
Yeah, Pret, you're revealing yourself there.
God,
Pret's slumming it.
Look at you,
Is
mate.
it?
Yeah. Pret. Greg's, mate. I'm all about Greg's.
Greg's?
Yeah.
I was never allowed to
Jonathan
go
is
there.
so posh that...
Look at him, just throwing out Huel, Pret. He's trying to get all the posh endorsements.
He just said that Pret is slumming it. Pret's is bloody Harrods.
I don't know who I am. Yeah, or Leon. Leon!
It gets worse.
Gee, what are you going to start talking about next? Go to the Groucho Club?
Exactly. Only Kate Middleton goes to Leon, for God's sakes. That's why she's stick.
They do make good chicken nuggets, but it's quite expensive. It's anyway, back to Huel. Yeah, I mean, we don't want this obviously to replace food, and I also don't think it has the same...
Are you getting serious now?
Oh, I'm getting real serious.
Here comes the journey.
Here we go. Come on.
Huel. The case for. It's cheap, it's effective, everyone can have it, it's, it's quick, but I don't think you digest it in the same way. You don't chew it. You don't
that's
break
what
it
they
down
said.
in
You
your
need
mouth.
enzymes. You need those enzymes.
Amylase, protease. That's the only 2 I know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Huel, if you're watching, you do great work.
Thank you, Huel.
Interesting scientific developments now from the Daily Star. Magnetic slug robots, Jonathan.
Yes, so I finally get to talk about comics on television. So this new Venom-like magnetic slime robot could one day be used inside our bodies. So it's like a slimy, viscous liquid. It's also known as Huel. This robotic slime can act as both a solid and a liquid and has the ability to take on various shapes.
Have we got a photo?
I think we got some images. Let's take a look.
Oh my gosh.
So that does look like the symbiote from Spider-Man.
No, that does not. That looks like what happened when Mark, you took a photo of that in the toilet earlier, didn't you, with your cameras?
I actually sent that to a sperm clinic for...
for analysis.
Yeah.
That's just one sperm.
I've not managed to produce a child in 10 years. Now I know why. So, no, it's disgusting, isn't it? So how does this all work, Jonathan?
So, it's a magnetic slime that they can put into your body and then manipulate. So if you have something like a lodged item that got in there somehow, it happens, you can actually use magnets to manipulate it and manoeuvre it around and get it removed.
It pulls the gerbil out.
Yeah.
Clever.
Good news for lots of Hollywood actors.
Yeah, absolutely, and gerbils. But it's non-invasive, and I think the idea is they're going to be able to make this in small micro amounts and just manipulate it to fix ailments within the body.
I think that is incredible because I mean keyhole surgery is already remarkable.
Yes.
You've got remote surgery where a surgeon in another country on another continent puts his hand in this sort of virtual rubber gloves.
Yeah.
And
you can do it from across. I mean, it's going to be like that with virtual reality. It's going to be crazy. Where we're going to go.
It's good news.
Yeah.
It's good news. So you'd be willing to be entered by a robot to save your life?
Wouldn't be the first time, yeah. No, I'd definitely be up for that. If I've got something lodged, get the symbiote in me, get it out.
Yeah? How about you? Foreign objects in your body, Josh?
Can be added to all the rest.
Yeah, join the queue.
Yeah.
It's like Piccadilly Circus in there. Interesting scientific developments now from the... Oh, no, we've done that one. There you go. You can tell it's live, can't you? This in Monday's Mirror. It raises the question, what is appropriate to read in public places? Josh?
Yeah, this reminds me of a Bill Hicks bit. Do you know Bill Hicks?
I do.
Legendary US comedian.
Had a very funny bit about reading a book in a cafe, and someone came over to him and basically, what's this book? Got insulted that he was reading a book.
So what are you reading for?
Yeah, how dare you? Well, in this case, a woman was reading in a restaurant, and she was reading Moby Dick, and a woman came up to her and was like, why are you reading this pornography in here? This is disgusting. Obviously not realising that it's a book.
So this was an ignorant person.
This was an
ignorant
ignorant person.
realise it was a literary classic.
But she's the person who describes this is who it happened to, who wrote this story on Reddit. She said she came over, a normal-looking lady, but with not very good lipstick on, and that's how you tell that someone's mental.
Yeah, I mean, what is the most embarrassing thing to read these days that will really get you in trouble? I'm thinking Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or anything by J.K. Rowling.
I like to go into Waterstones and ask if they've got this book trans, just to sort of see the sort of super woke people go, oh no, I don't think we have, it's a brilliant book.
They go off to the attic.
Oh yeah, I think we have, just to say, look, come on, put these books out front. It's like a bestseller. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Douglas Murray, who's written a book called The War on the West, and he's very critical of woke culture. He alleges that there have been bookshops hiding copies of his books because the people working in bookshops are so right on and woke. They just don't want other people reading his dangerous words.
Well, if they're not the proprietors, the curators of the shop, they have no right to do that. It's the shop's duty to sell whatever they want to sell, so they shouldn't be doing that.
No, they shouldn't. And actually, I think that book Trans has faced a similar fate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Of woke bookshop
and
employees.
Moby Dick as well.
Oh yeah, well of course, but it is a cracking read. I mean, some of it's pretty red hot, I'll be honest with you. He blows stuff out of his hole. And,
when he enters...
He's got a real white whale, if you like.
He's got like a set of fins that you've not seen on many whales.
Yeah, or Ahab, he's a stud.
Do you know what I'm saying? And, gills.
I've not read it.
Yeah. No. At this point, I mean, have you read Moby Dick?
No.
No, I'm waiting for the film.
It's too filthy for me.
Let's finish on this. A feel-good story to end with. Welsh lottery winners, Joshua.
Yes, Daily Mail brought 435 Welsh residents sharing a £3.7 million jackpot in the People's Postcode Lottery. So that's about £185,000 each.
Okay.
One of them, Gladys Kent, 72, is looking forward to buying some new slippers.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting amount, isn't it? 175,000?
185.
185. It's
like your day rate, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
I
a
wouldn't
morning.
get out of bed for that.
That's a morning on GB News.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is it annoying to share the money with that many people?
Oh, for sure. It could be
it's not life-changing money.
There could be a lot of murders happening in this village now, suddenly.
Exactly. It's incredible money, Josh, but it's not kind of, right, I'm buying a yacht and I'll never work again, is it?
Well, I think it should be, they should make it into like a fortnight thing. There's 435 people now in this town. Then they put a border around the town for like a week. Let's see how many people survive.
Or like a tontine, the last person alive gets all of it.
Yeah. Or even Squid Game, perhaps.
Yeah.
Bring a bit of violence in, perhaps.
Why not? I mean,
just,
raise
the stakes a little bit.
Yeah, 3.7 million. I could live off that. I couldn't live off 185.
If you won the lottery, I know that you would both stay at GB News.
Of course.
But what else would you do with the money?
I would hire actors to follow me around and do really weird stuff the whole time. So I'd be in like crazy scenarios, everywhere I go.
So you'd basically pay for a flash mob?
Yes, but not a wholesome one. Yeah. Maybe a team of masseuses constantly massaging me like Kobe beef. That could be nice.
You know, this might be the most troubling story of the show so far.
You sure you want to buy a lot more wheelie bins?
I get the most sexy wheelie bin I could.
Yeah, now we're talking. Yeah. I knew that's what he was thinking. Josh, what would you do with the money?
I'm obviously going to have to follow Gladys here and get some slippers.
Yeah. Some good ones. Lamb's wool.
Lamb's, I can get rid of all my Huel and actually eat some proper food.
I've given this a lot of thought.
Okay.
And I'm really worried because I thought if I won the lottery, and let's say you buy your son a Ferrari. He then crashes the Ferrari, breaks his leg. It's like you sort of broken your son's leg.
The ambulance service covers up.
Yeah, or God forbid a fatality in a helicopter. So what I would do is I'd just clear everyone's debts.
Okay.
Yeah, except Josh's, because I mean I'm not made of money.
You don't like to get involved with the mob.
Oh my God, he's got.
May I profoundly thank our wonderful comedians, Jonathan Cogan and Josh Howie, the best in the business. Brilliant fun, lads. And thank you for your company. It's been a brilliant 3 days. I'll see you on Friday at 9. Keep it GB News.
I'm Dan Wootton. Join me Monday to Thursday from 9 to 11 for the feistiest and most fun news debate on TV, where free speech reigns. I'll bring you a sharp take on the day's biggest stories, bombshell newsmaker interviews, and A-list guests. And I guarantee you, no spin, no bias, no censorship, and no reason to go to bed. That's Dan Wootton Tonight, Monday to Thursdays from 9 on GB News.
My name's Tom Harwood, and every weekday we bring you The Briefing live from 9:30 a.m. The stories, analysis, and live debate that you need to hear.
Quite right, Tom, of course.
Was this something that had been considered at all?
Difficult to answer.
Gas-guzzling helicopters circling. Noise is being made here. Joe Biden walking out. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't miss it. The Briefing with me, Tom Harwood, Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. on GB News.
We are GB News.
We're right across this great nation.
On TV,
on radio, on digital.
Absolutely everywhere.
We don't talk down to you.
We embrace all voices.
With honest and civilised conversation.
We're not part of the establishment.
We're one of you.
And we're only getting started.
Join us on GB News,
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Every morning from 6 o'clock, we'll wake you up with GB News Breakfast with all the stories you didn't know from the night before.
So whether it's serious news, entertainment, or your own views from all over our great nation, we're here to kick off your day with a smile.
And the national media should be reflecting